Realme X50 Pro. It's the successor to Realme's first ever flagship, the X2 Pro, and on paper it has all the makings of a solid value for money flagship. But does that translate to practicality? Well, I used the X50 Pro as my primary for about 2 weeks, and in this video I'm gonna share my experience with the smartphone. What I liked, what I didn't, what Realme's nailed, and what I feel Realme could have done better. Now the X50 Pro, it has a lot going for it. It's priced aggressively, it's got top of the line internals, a high refresh rate display, a good looking build, along with super fast charging. So where do we start? Well, the highlight here, the reason why you're probably interested in this phone, it's gotta be the chip underneath, so we might as well start right there. The X50 Pro has the Snapdragon 865 SoC at the heart of it. We get 6, 8 or 12 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM along with 128 or 256 gigs of fast UFS 3.0 storage. This means the X50 Pro is very snappy. In my time with this phone, I never had it fumble, stutter, not at all. The display on this is a 6.44-inch AMOLED panel and it has a 90Hz refresh. This makes everything a little smoother. While the user experience is top-notch, there is one little thing that bothered me in my time with the Realme X50 Pro. Now, it's not something major, but when in a bright environment, you don't even actually notice this, but when the brightness levels are low due to the surrounding being dark, the color temperature changes. How do I explain? It goes kind of purplish for a second when jumping to anything that's predominantly black. It was quite jarring for me. And no, this is not OSIE. OSIE is a Realme option that helps increase the punchiness of the display for certain apps, and that is not this. I faced this issue with OSIE both on and off, so it seems like a software bug and I hope Realme can address it soon. Now barring this, there's pretty much nothing to complain about. The AMOLED panel, it's a pleasure to use, Full HD+, 90Hz, good punchy colors, excellent viewing angles. Unlike the Realme 6, even brightness is not an issue. I could use this phone outdoors without any problems. Not that I really got to use it outdoors much given the lockdown situation. Anyway, this display also has HDR10+ certification. Coupled with the minimal bezels and Dolby Atmos supported stereo audio, the media experience is pleasant. It is worth mentioning that unlike the Xiaomi Mi 10, it's the earpiece here that doubles as a stereo speaker, so it's not quite as rich as the Mi 10. It's still good though. But just like the Mi 10 and most other phones in this segment, the X50 Pro 2 lacks a headphone jack. Let's now circle back to the display. It also happens to be excellent for gaming, especially with those games that support high refresh rates. The 865 chip underneath, it's more than capable of pushing the required frames, so the gaming experience is as good as it gets. Realme's Realme UI also has game space that helps. Then there is liquid cooling at play to help maintain temps during extended gaming sessions. So despite having a glass back, the X50 Pro never got hot per se. Talking about that back, it is quite nice to look at. Realme's got two very attractive color options in moss green and rust red. While not as flamboyant as, say, iQOO's Volcano Yellow, it's still just as unique. I adore how this back reflects light. It's got a certain glow to it. It does pick up fingerprints, but not as much as glossy glass, so in a way, I see matte finishes as an upgrade. As I mentioned earlier, the 6.44-inch display, to the front it is surrounded by reasonably small bezels. We also get dual cameras in this cutout right here. The primary is a 32-megapixel Sony sensor, the IMX616. It's coupled with a f2.5 lens. It captures detailed selfies, but I feel the colors are a little too warm. To give you some perspective here are images shot by the 8-megapixel f2.2 ultra-wide, the secondary camera. See the difference in colors? The ultra-wide does seem to produce more natural-looking images. That said, this is just a minor gripe. The camera's performance overall is satisfactory, and even with portraits, both cameras continue to impress. Add to this, there is ultra steady for the selfie camera too, so it's a pretty impressive option if you want to vlog with this phone. Now because of this cutout and the bezels there, the X50 Pro has a relatively small overall footprint. If you have big hands, you could get away using this phone single-handed. It's not easy, but it is most definitely possible. Actually, more so than the footprint itself is the fact that the X50 Pro weighs in at 207 grams. That might actually stop you from using this single-handed. By the way, the glass used here to both the front and back, it's Corning's Gorilla Glass 5. And given the 207 gram weight and 9mm thickness, if you are going in expecting a super high capacity 5000 or 6000 milliamp hour battery, that is not what the X50 Pro has to offer. Realme's gone with a 4200 milliamp hour battery here, but at the end of the day, the mAh doesn't really matter. It's the actually battery life that does. And the X50 Pro impresses in that regard. The 4200 mAh battery easily lasted me a full day on a single charge every single day I used this phone. With light to moderate usage, I could even push into day 2. Realme UI's optimization seems well done. The 65-watt super dart charger, that also impresses with the charging speeds 0 to 100 in 35 minutes, and if I can recall correctly, 0 to 70 in 15 minutes. And that, especially given the charger is included in the box, is pretty darn impressive. So there are 6 cameras in total on this phone. We've taken a look at the 2 to the front. Now let's turn our attention to the 4 at the back. The primary here, it's Samsung's ISOCELL Bright GW1, a 64 megapixel sensor that's been paired with a f1.8 lens. It produces rich images, pretty well detailed. The dynamic range is quite good too. Here are a couple more examples. Take a look for yourself. Under low light, Realme's got an ultra night mode. It helps produce decent shots like this. It's not meet and good, but it's good nonetheless. Like the front, we get an 8 megapixel ultra wide to the back too. This happens to double as a macro camera as well. The third sensor over here is a 13 megapixel telephoto that supports 2x optical, 5x hybrid and 20x digital zoom. Now the final sensor, it's a 2 megapixel monochrome. It's supposed to help with edge detection and seems to do reasonably well in that regard. With video, here's where things get a little disappointing. There's no 8K or even 4K 60. That seems to have been cut for some weird reason. 4K 30 is available, but that lacks EIS too, meaning you might end up not using it a lot. But at 1080p, EIS kicks in. We have a super steady mode that works with the primary camera and a super steady max for the ultra wide. So it is pretty decent, but with optics, I'd say the X50 Pro, it's slightly above average. I'm open to changing the rating to good if Realme can add 4K 60 along with EIS and also fix the warmth issue with the selfies. Now before we jump to price, here are the sun trees. The fingerprint scanner is under the display and is one of the fastest we've come across. Face unlock is similarly fast and accurate. There's no support for microSD or an IP rating, but the X50 Pro does have support for 5G right from the base variant. But 5G, at least for the foreseeable future, it doesn't really matter here in India. What does matter though is the price, and this is one area Realme's nailed. The X50 Pro starts at 40,000 rupees, and for that price, it is one of the best phones you can get. Yes, the cameras, at least as of now, they're just above average, but the rest of the phone, right from the specs to the battery, the charging speed, the looks, the user experience, the display, it's all very good, it's all excellent. So unless cameras are of utmost priority, again, the cameras are not bad, they are competent enough. So unless the cameras are of top priority to you, the X50 Pro is a very good all-rounder that is well worth the asking price. If you own an X50 Pro already, do share your thoughts on how your experience has been with this phone in the comments below. And if you're looking to buy a phone in this segment, let me know what your choice is. So that's pretty much it for this review. This is my take on the X50 Pro. Now if you know what to do, like, share, subscribe and all that. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.